For our speech, we decided to hand out some suspicious candy. If you didn't take the candy, raise your hand. All right, so we got a decent amount of people who didn't take the candy. Don't worry, if you took the candy, it is safe, but we just wanted to offer it for free to show a common way that people use giving away free stuff to get involved in human trafficking, and it's not.
Surprise.
I don't know. I wasn't happy. Anyway.
It's a way to lure all people to them.
Human trafficking is a modern day form of slavery that involves the transportation or coercing of people in order to benefit from their labor or service. This is usually sexual exploitation or forced labor. Human trafficking is a social justice that is common yet mostly unknown, and we want to shine light on the demographics of human trafficking, the startling statistics, how human trafficking can affect someone, and what you can do to help.
Oh gosh, sorry. A very common assumption is that only women are trafficked, and that is not true. Human trafficking affects everyone, not only women and children, but men as well. 21% of people actually trafficked are men, which is actually a lot higher than I initially thought. But a huge group of individuals that are usually trafficked are high-risk individuals. So that means people who are in and out of jail or the juvenile system, people who are prostitutes, runaways, domestic violence victims, if the person who was like beating them up or keeping them in that situation like wanted to find them and get revenge, and especially substance abusers, just because the drug dealers are not the safest people. And then at the end of the day, human trafficking can affect anyone. It's not solely a group of people. There's not a certain gender, race, sexuality. Anyone can just be at the wrong place at the wrong time and get chosen to be trafficked or exploited in that way.
So there are many statistics that show how horrifying human trafficking really is. So human trafficking is a $150 billion criminal industry, which is just really hard to wrap your mind around that number. There are 25 million people used annually in human and sex trafficking, and only 1% of the people that are victims of human trafficking get rescued, which shows how important preventing the issue is. 43% of the victims are involved in forced labor, and 13% of the victims of human trafficking are involved in the sex labor trade. So there's several graphs here that do a good job of displaying a lot of the information. And the middle one just shows how really any age can be involved in human trafficking. The ages 9 to 17 and 30 to 38 for some reason stuck out to me because they are higher than any other age group, which I don't know the exact reason, but it does show that there are certain age groups that they are targeted. And 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 18 boys are sexually abused before age 18, which shows that it is not just sexual, it's not just on a woman, it is on men as well. So,
Human trafficking has many negative effects on a victim's lives. According to paragraph 3 of the American Psychological Association, it can cause a loss of basic human rights, loss of one's childhood, disruption of families, and severe mental health consequences, including anxiety disorders, post-traumatic stress disorders, depression, and substance abuse. Many victims of human trafficking also experience an attachment to their abuser. Substance use, abuse, and addiction are all often seen in behavioral health outcomes of survivors. The American Psychological Association also states in paragraph 4, studies show that women who have been trafficked for sex have higher levels of fear and are more associated and have a greater trauma and mental health needs than other victims of crime. Even though it may be more commonly seen in women, many men also experience these effects as well. A 2016 study about trafficking survivors in England showed that 78% of women and 40% of men reported high levels of depression, anxiety, and PTSD symptoms. According to paragraph 10 of the Exodus.com, victims of human trafficking can experience devastating psychological effects during and after trafficking experience. Many survivors may end up experiencing post-traumatic stress, difficulty in relationships, depression, memory loss, anxiety, fear, guilt, shame, and other severe forms of mental trauma. These effects can really take a toll on someone's life in all aspects. So many relationships moving forward in victims' lives are strained because of the lack of trust, worthiness, and safety that many victims experience. And then this just says, shows you some of the symptoms that people with PTSD have, and just trauma in general, what they experience after going through.
So according to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, victims live and work in society just like we do. So they walk into grocery stores, gas stations, restaurants. So the few warning signs to look out for of human trafficking is inappropriate clothing for age. So maybe a younger person wearing something that shows more, or the weather, maybe it's really cold outside and they're wearing short clothes. A young person being demanded by another person, so it could be a little girl being bossed around by an older man. Brands or unusual tattoos, commonly on the neck, is the most common spot for them. And then a minor with someone during school hours or late at night, and then someone with just unexplained injuries on the body.
How to help. So you want to alert law enforcement. Also, it may be unsafe to approach the victim and the traffickers. You do not want to, if you do decide to approach the trafficker and victim, you want to be careful, because you don't know if that person's armed with a weapon and could have hurt you or you could call 911 to alert law enforcement also. And then you can also call the National Human Trafficking Hotline.
Alright, has anyone seen or heard of the movie Sound of Freedom? So it was filmed in 2017, but there was a lot of controversy about what's been going on. So they didn't release it until earlier this year, and it was only shown in about maybe half of the theaters in the United States. So it is founded by Homeland Special Agent, who his specialty was human trafficking. He founded an Operation Underground Railroad, which is a nonprofit organization that rescues children from sex trafficking and sexual exploitation. So just to go a little bit about it, Special Agent Tim Ballard works for Homeland Security, who works in their human trafficking division. After rescuing a young child from a predator, he finds out the boy's sister has been taken as well. Ballard made it a mission to bring the girl home to her family. This leads him to Cartagena, Colombia, and meets a former cartel worker who now saves children from the trade. With the help of the Colombian embassy, Ballard and Vampro were able to save 54 children from sex trafficking, and the girl was not among the 54. The team learns the girl was sold to the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia and was deep in the Amazon. Posted as doctor, in the end, he was able to save the girl and unite the family. If you want more information about it, I would definitely watch it if you can. From my experience, I was a little disturbed that this is actually happening, but anyway, something to look into.
Today we have gone over what human trafficking is, the demographics of human trafficking and what that looks like, the statistics that show the severity and the importance of the situation, the effects on the victims' lives and how it causes mental disorders, how to spot human trafficking and what you can do to help. So this is by calling 911 or not approaching too close to the victim. And then also we talked about the Sound of Freedom and how it relates to our speech.